Good morning, everybody. MG here. MGCovers, bringing you a brand new sports handicapping video. Title of this video is going to review my criterion-based model for NHL and see if it was profitable or not for 2021. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, greatly appreciate you subscribing to the channel. Have a ton of videos on sports handicap, and if you want to learn the business, we got playlists on NFL, college football, NBA, college basketball, which is going on right now. If you want to follow me on Instagram, give out a ton of information on Instagram, so you get a lot of value. Simply follow me. Things I don't normally make a video for, I might put on my storyline. MGCovers, cover spelled with a Z, and that's on Twitter as well. All right, so let's dive into it. If you back up to those of you that don't know about this criterion model, NHL used to be one of my favorite sports. Obviously, it coincides with college football and NFL, so that was where my focus was this year. Decided to focus on that instead of NHL. And what I was wanting to do back, I think last year, I noticed a trend that was happening. I don't want to get into specifics what I saw, but I noticed it. So what I did was I wrote it down. And so just to review, anytime you see something that's like, oh, I'm noticing this happening, write that down, and you can always go back and back test it or visit it later, as opposed to, just having a full-blown test, because if you don't write it down, you might end up forgetting it. So it's like I'm a golfer, so anytime I hear a professional golfer say something that I think's a good tip, I might write it down and then try it out for myself. So anyway, I noticed something, and then I did extensive back testing with this criterion-based model. And what a criterion-based model is, means there's not any handicapping involved. If a team or if a game meets a certain criteria, it's basically a play. Okay, and that's what I came up with this model. Now, when I back tested it, it was profitable, but it wasn't profitable late in the year, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit at the end of the video. So what you're looking at over here is the basically the betting log. And again, I didn't personally wager this, just full disclosure. We're testing it just to see how it would do live for the current year. And it started on 10/13. Now, you see right here, these are the teams. This was win, loss. This was the line. And then, of course, the net. And I want to explain something, too. I think this is important. People get confused when you're looking at net units. And again, one of the things I really want to do with this channel is educate people more, because there is a serious lack of education in our industry. So, for example, this first game, you look here, Anaheim, we wagered 1 point. The line was 134. So if we win this game, the most we can earn is 1.34 units, right? Now, we're not talking about units as it relates to bankroll. Some people say you bet 1% of your bankroll, 3%. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about how you can assess your units as compared to everybody else in the sports betting community. So when you go to a monitoring service, the way they grade this is, again, if you win this game, the most you can win on this game is 1.34 units. Now you look here with the New York Islanders, 1.24. If we lose this game, we are only down 1 unit, right? Because this is a dog line, right? And of course, if the line was minus 110 and you lose that, then let's scroll down here just so you can see it. So again, if minus 110, if you were betting a favorite, you lose that, then you're going to be down minus 1.1 units. Same deal if you were betting a favorite at minus 135, you lose that, you're down minus 1.35 units. Okay, so that's how a professional monitoring service tracks units. So that's why when you're back testing, you want to make sure that this is the correct way to do it, so you can gauge whether or not it is profitable or not. So anyway, so this is a criterion-based model. It was all dogs, all right? Now, if you look over here, dogs only win 36% of the time in NHL. Favorites win 63%. It's actually about 60-40, so favorites are a little bit up. This is year-to-date for NHL, and today is January the 3rd, 2022. So this is after about 3 months of NHL, which is about right. Again, favorites a little bit higher than normal, but that probably will come down to 60, and this dog should come up some closer to 40. So anyway, looking at this model, it got off to a really good start. And then, like anything I've talked about an investment wise, to really, evaluate something, you can't just look at this after the first, look at this first week. It was up, 9 units. You can't say, oh, wow, this is successful. It was, it got off to a good start, but obviously there's going to be some losses in there as well. And you can see right here, we had some losses. See where the height of this was. I think it got up to like 15 units. Was that it right here? I think that's what it was. Let's see. All right. Yep. All right. So you can see right here, after a month, November 11th, it was up to, you see right there, 15.36 units. So really solid. And I thought there was a chance that this thing might end up at like 20 units, which would be absolutely incredible. Again, a criterion-based model, there's no handicapping. You're not handicapping goalies. You're not handicapping entries. It's just if team A or team B or whatever the criteria you've set meets that criteria, it becomes a play. And what really happened was, we went through a really tough streak right here. You can see had a really tough stretch right after that, which is normal. I think that's important to note. Like anytime, you're going to gravitate back towards the mean. Let's just say the mean is 50%, which means if you're go on a strong run of 70%, you're not going to continue on that run 70%. You're going to probably go back down, obviously, and that's what happened here mid-November. A couple streaks here, win streak, losing streak, and then we come here to close out the year, end of the year, and it really had a really strong finish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It went 6-2 to close out. And so the beautiful thing about this criterion model, and we're just playing dogs, money line dogs, is that anytime we took a loss, we're only down 1 unit, and anytime we took a win, we're going to be up. We'll be profitable. So we could actually cash less than 50% and still be profitable. And I've covered that in a lot of videos. And what I mean by that is, those of you that know, minus 110 is the average juice on the spread. So in order to break even, if all your bets are minus 110 money line, you have to hit 53% to basically break even, right? Whereas this particular way of wagering, where we're betting all money line dogs, if we hit 50%, we're going to be profitable, or even less than that, and that's what actually ended up. So you can see here, we ended up with 41 wins, 44 losses. And again, this is going back to what I constantly preach is, people often ask, those of you that are learning about the business or trying to figure out if somebody's a good handicap or not, you'll often ask, what's your win percentage? Which, believe it or not, it's irrelevant. You need to know it, but that's not the only thing you need to know. You need to know the actual money line, wins and losses, to be able to calculate, units earned, ROI, etc. But just knowing a percentage is not good enough. For example, if you have, let's say somebody says, hypothetically, they're 60%. Like a handicapper can verify they're 60%. You say, wow, 60% is a good percentage. Well, let's say so they have 60 wins and they have 40 losses, right? Okay. 60%. Well, that's not enough information to know if they're good or not. Let's say they average minus 150 juice on every single play. Okay. So they had 40 losses at minus 150. So we take 40. This is going to be 40 times 150. Based on $100, they lost $6,000, and they have 60 wins times 100. Whoops. 60 times 100. Well, look there, they didn't make any money. So that's why I'm saying win percentage is almost irrelevant. I mean, it's not. You need to know it, but you have to know the money line over here as well. Okay. All right. So anyway, off on a little small tangent there. So what we ended up with, 41 wins, 44 losses. So we'll calculate the win percentage here. So in order to do that, you take the wins and you divide that by the total amount of games wagered. So in this case, I'm in Google Sheets, so we take 41 divided by, and then we add these two numbers up, which is going to be 85. And we have a 48% win percentage. Again, it's less than 50%. However, if you come over here, we actually earned 8.29 units. All right, so we can determine now that we wagered almost 100 games. This is a solid model, okay, which was the whole purpose of doing this. Again, I'd back tested it for several seasons and it was profitable. And then, of course, we ran it live this year and saw that it was profitable. And to note, if you're a client or you become a client, you actually have access to this model. I don't give away all of my models, but this one you do, which means you'll be able to see what stats we use, exactly how it works from A to Z. But anyway, so 8.29 units. Now, let's show you one other thing. I'm going to show you how to calculate ROI, return on investment. Now, a lot of debate about this in the sports betting community, and I'll give you my opinion on it here. And basically what you want to know, your return on investment, is how much you're investing and then how much you're getting back, just like in the stock market, right? So what you would do is, so we had 41, let's just base it on $100 because that makes it very simple. So we had 41, so we multiply 8.29 times 100, and that will give us $829 earned on $100. Now we have to figure out the total amount we wagered. So if we're wagering, so we know all these are dogs, right? So if we're wagering $100 each game, so 41 and plus 44 would be 85. Am I right? Yep, 85. So we take 85 times 100, and that gives us 8,500. So the amount wagered is 8,500. The amount earned is 829. All right. So in order to figure out your ROI, you would take 829. That's what you earned divided by the amount you invested. So that turns into 0.09. And then to get your actual percentage, you take this times 100, and it's a 9.7% ROI, which is pretty good. So the amount that we invested, we got back 9.75%, which is really, again, really solid. Now, one other note about this model, if you come over here, again, this is a really solid model simply because, we're able to hit 48%, whereas you look at dogs overall are only hit 36% of the time. So super proud of this model. Now, however, what I realized in testing this model, it does not translate into profit for the second half of the season. And the big reason in NHL, the lines get a little bit sharper, just like NFL. I talked to several clients yesterday. It was a very difficult week to cap for NFL, and that's true of any season, any sport. At the end of the season, the lines sharpen up, teams get better. And it becomes very difficult to handicap. So I'm not going to run this model January, February, March. Although if you're a client, not a client, or become a client and you want to test it, you obviously can. But I've done enough back testing to realize it's probably unprofitable in the second half of the season. But moving forward, something I will definitely do starting next year, because it requires very little handicapping, very little work. And considering, you can get a 10% yield out of it, very profitable way to play. I'm going to also do another recap video on my entire betting log for 2022. So that video will be out this week as well. So if you want access to all my power rankings, we currently have soccer, NFL, a few more college, one more big college football game, the national championship. I'll have my line out for that here pretty soon. You can get access to all my power rankings, $49.95 per month. That includes access to all of my coaching videos. Well, we've released one new coaching video, so I have hundreds of videos, coaching videos. When you join, you'll have access to all of those. If you want to get access to all of my plays, in addition to all my power rankings and videos, that's $99 per month. The best way to do it, like I've said before, if you want to invest in long term, really the way to do it, $4.99 for an entire year. You save about $600. Link to join is in the description box. Hope you guys have a good new year and a profitable 2022. We'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.